Hey everybody, welcome back to the 80s Slashers YouTube channel. In this video, I will be discussing the 1981 slasher film, Madhouse. I will be discussing the plot of this film, the setting, the kills, any nudity that it contains. I'll talk about the Blu-ray itself before wrapping it up with is just some final thoughts on the whole package, the whole film in the package there. So yeah, let's get right into it. Now, like I said, Madhouse is a 1981 film. Um, it was first released in Italy and Germany in 1981, but it didn't actually get a North American release until 1983 in like a limited release. Yeah, so that's kind of interesting. And another interesting fact about this is that this is a film that's considered to be an Italian film because of its the director of the film is Italian, and a large majority of the crew, the people who made this film, are Italian. So this is credited as being an Italian film. It was its initial theatrical release was also in Italy. So this is viewed as an Italian film. However, the entire cast of this film consists of American actors, and it was filmed in the United States, in the state of Georgia. So because of that, this film kind of has an interesting feel and look to it. For the majority of the film, from my perspective, it felt like I was kind of just watching an American-made film. But some of but with that being said, there was some definite like European, Italian type stylistic moments to it. Um, so yeah, it's kind of an interesting. It's like an interesting hybrid. Um, yeah, why they decided to, an Italian film crew, make the film, cast it with Americans, go to the States and shoot it, but then bring it back and release it first in Italy 2 years prior to it being released back in the States in '83. I don't know, interesting. Um, but yeah, so just a few interesting little tidbits about this film. So let's just jump right in and let's talk about the plot. All right, so yeah, Madhouse. Now, um, brief review. Like I said, I don't want to get into too many spoilers. I really like to try to avoid anything spoiler heavy with these type of reviews. So the plot of Madhouse. Basically, it opens up. There is um, you see, you're doing this. This is a film about two sisters. So basically, um, there's two twin sisters. They're growing up, and there was like a kind of a traumatic history together. There was some abuse. There was some um, kind of bad, evil things that happened when they were children. And then we kind of flash forward to when they're all grown up, and one of the twins, like the lead in the film, she's like a teacher. She's like doing really good things. She's teaching students, like deaf children, like who hard of hearing children. Um, and she's informed by her uncle, that her twin sister, who's I guess she's in a hospital. I don't know if she's like institutionalized or whatever, but she's struggling, and she wants to go see her. So she goes and sees her sister in the hospital. It's a long time since they've seen each other because of the traumatic past that they had, and she was very nervous. And she went and seen her sister, and her sister kind of kind of attacked her and kind of accused her and yelled at her, and it was scary. She ran into the room screaming, crying. She's like, "Oh, she's not changed. I thought this was a good idea. This was a terrible idea." Blah blah blah, and she goes back to her regular life. But then she soon realizes that she's told that her sister has escaped from the hospital and is on the loose. And then she's kind of nervous. She's like, "Oh, I don't know what she's gonna do because of our past. There's some violence." And then all of a sudden, people around her start getting killed one by one. And she's living in this old creepy house. And yeah, that's kind of where the film goes from there. It's kind of what's going on, who's doing the killings, and this and that, and it kind of turns into kind of there's some twists and turns along the way, but yeah, that's basically a very brief, idea of what the plot is. Now, I'll say right from the beginning, like from the opening scene, it's like the opening scene of this is creepy. Like as soon as it was going, I was like, okay, this is you could just tell the tone and the vibe of this film was going to be a little off-putting, a little like just creepy is the word that I'm probably going to be using a lot during this review. Because the opening scene, it shows like some kids and stuff, like the sisters as young kids, and it's creepy kids freak me out. I don't know, it's a weird thing, and then there's a little bit of violence. It's a good opening scene, but yeah, it's a little off-putting. Um, so that's pretty cool right from the beginning. Now, this is not your typical 80s slasher, as it doesn't follow the the regular formula that a lot of these films tend to do. Again, it's probably due to the fact that the people making this film are European Italian, and so they have their own history of making horror films and slasher, and it's kind of like blending together, because it's being made in the States with American actors. So there's both elements there, but it's not the typical formula that we expect from the 80s slasher genre at all. This actually kind of feels like a psychological thriller, but it has some like very strong slasher elements, in terms of, like the kills for sure. Um, yeah, but like even though it is kind of a psychological thriller, it's definitely a slasher film. It's just it again, it's kind of just like a weird hybrid. Um, yeah. So, a big theme throughout the film, it focuses on mental illness. It's there in like the backstory of the film. It's there as kind of part of some of the setting of the film. The killer itself plays a part. And even in like the final like twist reveal kind of thing at the end, it all kind of comes back to mental illness, and you're watching it sometimes through the eyes of people who are insane, for lack of a better term. And it's again, it's kind of a creepy. There's some creepy moments like dealing with that, like for me anyway, because that really affects me. um yeah, like it's just, I don't know, that sort of thing just always, it just kind of gets to me. It always, like, makes my hair stand up a little bit. It's just I like that how they incorporate that sometimes, and this one has a lot of it. There's a lot of stuff surrounding the mental illness aspect. So, besides all the creepiness of this film that I keep referring to, this film, I'm gonna say it doesn't pull any punches. There's this actually made its way onto like the infamous video nasties list. And I can kind of see why. It's not over the top. Like some of the films on those lists are like really over the top, gratuitous violence, whatnot. Um, there is some of that in this for sure, and we'll talk about it a little later. But there's things like there's children get killed, which you don't see that too often. But there's like, yeah, there's children being killed in this film. There's animals being killed. And there's one scene in particular, like an animal death. There's more than one, but there's one scene in particular that it's pretty difficult to watch. And that's if I was to guess, if there was one scene, that was probably the one scene that maybe made them steer towards that video nasties list. Um, yeah, so this film, this film will definitely provide some nightmare fuel. Just with some of the scenes, like for me anyway, like it just there's some images and like sounds and moments. They're really creepy, and yeah, it might spook you a little, for me anyway. But like I said, that's a good thing. I really like that about this film. Now, the last thing I'll say about the plot, it's kind of something. If anyone's familiar with this film, it's kind of the big thing with this. Now, again, I don't want to spoil anything, but the ending of this film, not just the ending. There's a lot of the elements of this film, but especially the ending, is very, very similar to another 80s slasher that's pretty well known. Now I don't want to spoil, because if you, the title of that film, for anyone who doesn't want to know, because if you haven't seen that film, I don't want to. If you know how this one ends, or vice versa, if you know how that one ends, I don't want to spoil either one. So I'll say the title, but I'll just give you a warning. You can mute it or fast forward 5 or 10 seconds. I'm just gonna say the title once, and then we'll talk about the two of them. So yeah. So now's your chance. Mute the video or fast forward 10 seconds. I'm gonna say the title of the similar film. So yeah, the film is Happy Birthday to Me from 1981. So yeah, so okay, so those two films, these two films, this and the other one that I just mentioned, the endings are remarkably similar, like to the point where it's almost too much of a coincidence. Um, one, you would think one had to have copied the other one, but it's really interesting because they both came out in 1981. The earliest release date for this film in Italy was March of 81, and the other film was May of 81. So, really close, they came out in the theater at the same time. Um, in terms of when this was actually made, like whether it was shot a while before, I don't know. I couldn't find the information. The other film that this is similar to, I believe it was about July to September of 1980 when it was actually made, and there was like early drafts of the script, probably available in just before July of 1980. I don't know about this one. So the question is, which came first? Like what, like did one copy the other? Is it just a really big coincidence? I find it, oh man, I find it really hard just to say that it's a coincidence, these two films. If I was to guess, like I don't know if anybody knows. I did some research, I couldn't find any information on it. I would say that the director of Madhouse um, copied the other film. Um, like I said, the reason why is because, like I said, I know the other film was in production almost a year prior to it being released, so July of 1980. So there is a window there if somebody could have got caught, seen some of the shooting of the script, I don't know. And the director of this film has kind of been known as sort of a rip-off artist. He likes to do. I think he did like a film that's like similar to The Exorcist, and just like a few other films. He kind of takes things from other films and puts them in his film. So the fact that it's in this film, I'm gonna lean towards this is kind of a rip-off of the other 80s slasher, but I don't know. It's I don't know if we'll know. It's they're so close together in release. It's just I don't know. It's just kind of an interesting thing. Which one did that end scene better? Because they're so close. They're so similar. The ideas are similar. The way it's set up. But the other film I think did a better job. I enjoy the other one better. But yeah. Anyway, really interesting. So yeah, that's about it for the plot. So let's move on and take a look at the setting. All right, so Madhouse was, like I said, it was shot and filmed in Georgia in the United States. So, all of the exterior shots of cars and buildings and like restaurants, all that stuff, it really makes it feel and look like, in American film. It just kind of has the look, like when you're watching a film that's made in Italy, you kind of know because it's different, you can just tell. This one felt like an American film, and then we have like the American actors doing, speaking. There's no dubbing. It really felt like I said, an American film. But the main setting and the primary location for most of the scenes in the film takes place in an old, like rundown, almost gothic feeling house building, like apartment building, like house. It's like at one time it was probably a huge house, but then in the 80s it converted to like a few different apartments. And within this building there's basically um, two apartments inside the building that we get to see inside of, and they seem normal. They're just regular, normal looking apartments, nothing out of the ordinary. But everything else in the building is very, very atmospheric and creepy. Like it's like this, the staircases connecting, like the one apartment up to the top floor of the apartment are really um they're old, like the wood, the creaky wooden stairs, like the the just kind of gothic looking. Like the wood is highly designed. A lot of abandoned hallway shots down these old abandoned hallways, and like I said, it's run down. It's not like the the apartments that we see are worked on and finished and clean, but everything else is old and like it's like this construction going on. Um, and we see a couple times we see some of the other apartments inside that are just like painting blankets and dust and just like wood construction stuff. Um, it's oh, of course we hit the basement of the building, which is super super creepy. Um, yeah, and there's lots of things like when people are walking, like checking out noises, like they hear something, so they're walking slowly down a hall. The floorboards are creaking. If they open doors, the doors are like have that creaky sound. A lot of like dimly lit lampshades are like swinging, casting really weird shadows everywhere. It's just the whole building is spooky, and it's just it's a really good setting for this type of film, like especially when you couple it with like the whole mental illness aspect that this film is going on. It almost feels like at times it could be like a madhouse, like an insane asylum. It doesn't quite have that feel, but the fact that there's like an insane person like lurking, creeping inside in some of these rooms, it's just it fits together nicely. It kind of has that feel. So yeah, nothing that stands out like as a fantastic location for a slasher. It's more of just the tone and the feel of the story and where it takes place at. That it's just yeah, it's really good. So yeah, I like the setting. I wish more of it was in the creepy aspects of the building. There was a lot in the regular looking clean apartments, and there was some stuff at like a school, like where she's teaching the children, and yeah, there's a couple things in like the hospital where the sister is, the psychiatric hospital, which is creepy. There's some creepy stuff in there as well, but overall, it's yeah, for the theme of the movie, I think the setting works really well. Yeah, so not too bad. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the kills. All right, so there are a total of 7 kills that I counted in Madhouse, and that's including a pretty. um, like an animal kill. There's a few other people who get killed kind of off screen that are encountered, and there's like another animal kill that again, it doesn't really count, but there's 7 kills, and one of the animal kill I'm going to include as one of like the main kills, and we'll talk about it. So as you can see by the cover here, it's actually perfect. There's basically two types of kills that occur in this film. There's regular, like, bladed weapon kills, and then there's death by an attacking dog, a Rottweiler, which this is pretty accurate. This dog is terrifying. The dog they got for this is so mean looking. Oh my goodness. He looks just about like that, minus the red glowing eyes. Yeah, so now most of the bladed weapon kills, there's more than, it's not just a knife. There's a little bit of variety. But yeah, most of the bladed weapon kills, to be honest, some of them are pretty tame. But there is one. It's actually an axe. There's an axe kill that's really gory, really fantastic. It's you see a lot of it. It's like blood and guts, and it's like flesh being ripped out. It's pretty good. It's really good. Yeah. So that's the highlight for the bladed weapon kills. A couple of the other ones are um, they're okay. Um, Now the dog attacks, man, the, the kills they did with this, they're terrible. They're vicious. They're bloody. They're gory. They're kind of horrific to watch. I was kind of like, I was just like kind of like as I was watching, I was kind of like, my face was curling up, and I was just like, oh, just kind of one of those things. You can't look away, but you're like, oh, you're watching it. Um, they're those kills. They're really well done. Even though there is sometimes that it's a little obvious that the human being attacked, it's like a dummy. You can kind of see it. Again, that's probably due to like the Blu-ray quality. If you're watching this on VHS, like it's one of those things you wouldn't be able to tell. Like they did a really good job. There's just a little bit where you can tell the dog is attacked, because it's a real dog attacking like the human dummies. Um, but yeah, like regardless of that, they seem really really realistic. And they're great, man. Like they make you cringe. Like I was just watching, I was like, oh, you just imagine having that happen to you, and it's just like, oh, it's brutal, brutal. And you don't see that too often in these type of films. Like this dog must have been highly trained, and yeah, they went for it. They were really really effective. Now, so I talked about earlier. There is the death of an animal in this, and it's really graphic. It's probably the most graphic kill in the whole film. And like I said, it's pretty hard to watch. Like I'm not a big animal guy. Like I'm not like I don't own any pets. So I'm sure people who own pets, watching that would even be harder to watch. And I I kind of feel guilty saying it, but in a way, it's the highlight moment in terms of the kills in this is this animal death, I think. Now, obviously, it's not a real animal. No real animals were harmed in the making of the film, but again, the Blu-ray, you can tell sometimes it's not a real animal, but it looks pretty real, to be honest. They did a really good job of capturing this. And I won't say what is done, which animal it is, or it's just, you should check it out. And but again, if you don't like watching animals being harmed, it's hard to watch. It is. It's pretty brutal, but it's well done, and it's gory, and it's pretty it's pretty horrific. So yeah, so that was pretty interesting. Now the 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 killer in this film is pretty creepy. There's throughout the film, there's some brief glimpses. We don't get long shots, but there is some brief glimpses that we get. And when you get like I said, it's a whole mental illness thing. So when you get like that, like the psychotic behavior combined with some like facial deformities, um, you see like a quick shot like running down the hall or something, and like the face is kind of deformed and like that, like the crazy deranged laughing. It's pretty chilling. It's pretty creepy. It's yeah, it's really effective. And yeah, I kind of usually in these films you have like a masked killer or something like that, but it's different, but it's effective. I thought it was really good. So I like the killer, and like I said, there's some twists and turns. I won't get into it, but yeah, it's pretty good. It's chilling. I'll say that. So yeah. So overall, the kills in this film are obviously the main elements that really make this a slasher film. Um, and also some of them are pretty stylistic. Like some of the bladed weapon kills. Like I said, there's not a lot. Some of them there's not a lot of gore, but there's a way that they're filmed that it's really that Italian European style. I wish there were the ones that were pretty tame. I wish there was a little more blood and gore, because that's why we watch these films. But the fact that some of them they had kind of like a just like the way they were filmed, like the camera angles and the lighting and some other little tricks they did, they it kind of made up for the lack of blood and gore. Um, so yeah, the Italian horror genre came through in some of these kills. So yeah, really good. So overall, like I liked the kills. I thought this film had some good stuff. It was plenty of gore, plenty of violence, and like I said, some shocking moments to be sure. So yeah, pretty good. All right, let's move on and talk about the nudity. All right, so Madhouse has zero nudity. Nothing. There's nothing to talk about. No there's not even like any like titillation. There's no like women in their bathing suits, women in their underwear, like men walking around shirtless. There's nothing. It's not. It's all focused on the mental illness and the hunting and the stalking and the killing. So yeah, there's nothing to add. So let's just let's just move right on and talk about the Blu-ray. All right, so this Blu-ray, of course, was released from Arrow Video. This is a really nice release. The packaging is fantastic. Arrow, like the cases are like really solid. Um, I love the white packaging. They're thicker. The spines are thicker. I really love Arrow's releases. We get a tray inside, Blu-ray on top, and then you get the DVD in its own separate tray, which is fantastic. We have this is I believe this is the commissioned newer artwork, and then we also get the original artwork. You can see that there, which is good, which is pretty good. I usually always stick with the original, but I in this case I prefer this one, like the red glowing eyes, the dog, the bloody knife, the creepy house atmosphere. It just fits. It fits really well with the movie. So, but yeah, I like that you have the choice. It's really good. In terms of audio video, this looks great. Of course, every time Arrow does an HD upgrade, they do a fantastic job. This is a 2K scanned 2K restoration from the original negative. I will say that there is some scenes in the film that are pretty soft and even a little out of focus at times. Again, no fault of Arrow. It's just the source material. But I did notice a few times throughout the film that these issues pop up, and obviously not a big deal. Just something to note, I guess. Um, but like the audio sounds good. Like it's not usually these type of films you have like the Italian actors and it's dubbed and so you have to kind of deal with like a different audio track. Not the case with this one. The audio is crisp, clear, sounds great. I think you have actually two different options on here. You have like a stereo 2.0, then you have a 5.1 DTS HDMA audio option. So whichever you prefer. Um, so yeah, audio video, you can't go wrong. This is probably the best version you're gonna get as of now. I do believe that another one of these boutique labels has released this, maybe over in the UK. I can't remember offhand, but I think there is another version that you can get. But over here in North America, I would say that the Arrow video is the one you want for sure. In terms of special features, there's not too much. It looks like there is. You got the scan, you got the two audio tracks. And you have a commentary again from the Hysteria Continues podcast. Those guys are awesome, so it's always good to have that. Then you have a couple, I think three. Yeah, I think you have three interviews here. You have one with an actress, one with the cinematographer, and one with the producer and director. I haven't said his name in this because I have trouble pronouncing. Ovidio Asante. Sonatus. Yeah. So that's good. Interview with the director, an actress, and a cinematographer. You get some alternate opening titles, which is kind of cool. Trailer and reversible artwork. So nothing special. There's no like I usually like when you get like a featurette, like on the making of some behind the scenes stuff. That's always good. But in this case, we just get some interviews. But again, you can't go wrong. There's probably not much available, maybe. So yeah, so overall, Blu-ray is fantastic. Thumbs up. I would definitely recommend you guys picking this one up. All right, let's close this out and let's take a look and have at some final thoughts. All right, so Madhouse. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. I thought this was a good film, a good horror film, and a good slasher film. Like I said, it's not your typical 80s slasher. Um, so it doesn't follow that, the tropes and all the stuff that we're used to, but the one thing I'll say is that this film at times is creepy as all hell. It's like the story, the killer, some of the kills, the setting, the whole just the sub like the mood around like mental illness. It just kind of all ties together and it just kind of makes a creepy film. Not the whole way through. There's breaks, but it kind of goes out in the sunshine and blah blah blah. People are having fun but then it always comes back to like that creepy tone. Um, yeah, it's just because of that. I felt like it's just a really effective horror film, and it just adds that extra layer of creepiness throughout the film. So yeah, so if you're looking for like the regular thing, like I said, there's no nudity. It's the setting is not like nothing really cool like a shopping mall or a sleepaway camp or anything like that. It's just like a house, a building, but it's a really atmospheric, creepy building, and it's unique. It's pretty unique setting, and it all works. It fits together and works really well. You get some gory kills, and some of these kills are pretty unique and hard to watch. So yeah, this is an interesting, Italian terror slash, American slasher hybrid horror film. And I liked it. I think it's for what it is. It's really good and really enjoyable. And I'm gonna recommend it. Definitely check it out if it sounds like the type of film that you would like. Um, yeah, check it out. It's got some really good elements to it. So yeah, that's it, guys. That's it. So that's Madhouse. So yeah. All right. Until next time. All right. See ya.